All right, guys, so here we go with a set of problems. We're going to utilize the laws of indices, and we're going to try to solve these problems one by one, okay? So the first one actually employs one of the first laws, law number 2, which says if we have the same base and they're divided by each other, we could just subtract the exponent. So we have 12 to the 5th power divided by 12 to the 3rd power. As I mentioned, they're the same base. See, right here, this is the base. This is the base. It's the same base they have, okay? So we can then apply our rule, which basically says we're going to take a look at the exponents, 5 and 3, and subtract. All right, so we're going to have 12 to the 5 minus 3, hence 12 to the 2nd power, which is 144. So our answer for number 1 is 144, okay? All right, let's look at the second problem, 81 to the 1/2. Remember, we have a rule, right? Which basically says anything to the 1/2 is just square root of it, right? So for example, if I had the third root of, let's say, 243, just for argument's sake, right? Then this would be the same thing as 243 to the 1/3 power. And of course, this works both directions, right? So now I'm looking at something like this. I'm looking at 81 to the 1/2 power. And so that's basically the square root of 81. Now, we don't really write the 2 in there, but that's what it really is, right? So what I have is just square root of 81, okay? And that's 9. And it's going to be plus or minus 9, because minus 9 times minus 9 also gives you 81, all right? So that's our answer for the second problem. Let's move over to the third problem, right? So this is a little bit more complicated, but it's nothing we can't handle, right? So what we have here is a to the 4 multiplied by a to the 7 divided by a to the 5th power, all right? So again, they're all the same base, okay? A. So we're multiplying and then we're dividing. So when we multiply, we're supposed to add the exponent. So really and truly, this is a to the 4 plus 7, and then we're dividing by a to the 5, right? Which means you could then just subtract right here. But for now, let me go step by step. And so then this gives me a to the 11th power divided by a to the 5th power. And that gives me a to the 11 minus 5, which is then a to the 6th power. Okay, so that's how we get away with that one, right? Let's try the fourth problem here now. So I have 2x squared y quantity, the 3rd power. Now, quantity simply means everything inside the brackets, all right? So everything inside this bracket is raised to the 3rd power, which means every element inside here, this is raised to the 3rd power. This is raised to the 3rd power. This is raised to the 3rd power, okay? So now I have 2 to the 3rd power multiplied by x squared to the 3rd power. This is x squared raised to the 3rd power multiplied by y to the 3rd power, okay? Now 2 to the 3rd power I happen to know is 2 times 2 times 2, so that's 8, so I can just write that in. Multiplied by, now what you want to take a look at here is right here. I have a power, and then this is raised to a power, okay? And remember, we have a rule that deals with that. That rule says that we multiply the exponents. So what I'm going to have here now is x raised to the 2 multiplied by 3. Now I could just go ahead and put 6 there, but just for the purpose of slowing down the explanation, I'll just put 2 multiplied by 3. And then this is y to the 3rd power. So now moving to my next step, this becomes 8 x to the 6th power y to the third power, and that's my simplified final answer. All right. Let's look at our last problem, okay? So I have 5x quantity squared, then multiplied by xy, and then all divided by 25, okay? Now, if I want, I could recognize that 25 is 5 squared, but I don't need to at this point, right? But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna work on this portion right here. All right, this is inside the bracket, so everything inside here has to be squared, okay? So if I square everything inside the bracket, what I'll have is 5 squared. So I have 5 squared multiplied by x squared. Now this is just what's inside the bracket. Then multiplied by x and multiplied by y all over 25. So again, I'm just going step by step. So now this is 5 squared, which is 25. And this is x squared times x. Now really and truly, x is really x to the first power, right? We just don't write it. But it's important to note because what happens now is I have to add 2 plus 1. Remember, when I multiply, if it's the same base, I just add the powers, right? So this is going to be x to the 2 plus 1, which then is x cubed y divided by 25. And right here, this is just a division, right? So I can cancel out these 25s. And in fact, then what I'm left with is just x cubed y. And that's my answer. Other videos in this and other series are available. Like, share, and subscribe if you found the video helpful. If there's a topic you'd like to see us tackle, just let us know.